Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and today we're talking about tying up loose ends as our final December ending Christmas related idioms for this month. Sharing different idioms and then tying them into what do they mean, where do they come from, and how do we relate them, and how do they impact us growing and building and supersizing our business. Well, tying up loose ends, I like this expression. It comes from the nautical world. I believe I've covered it in the last 1,100 some odd idioms that we've talked about, but this time we're going to talk about it from a slightly different perspective. And of course comes from ships and sailing, when you had to tie ropes and tie ends together, either strings or cables or ropes. It refers to putting things together, tying them off, completing tasks that are necessary or that you've committed to doing, but you haven't completed them yet. Maybe it's a project that you've got just a few little things to do. I think of building and remodeling and finishing work as tying up loose ends, right? Right before a new project, a new build project, or any project is finished, somebody comes in and makes a checklist of all the things that aren't done yet, all the things that aren't perfect yet. If you've ever bought a new home or had a spec home built, you know that you walk through with your general contractor and you put blue tape on all the things you want fixed, or little notes on all the things that you want repaired. And so the end of the year to me is the perfect time to tie up loose ends from the current year as I'm preparing for the next year. And there's only a few things that we can do with respect to tying up loose ends, right? I call it the 5 Ds. Why? Because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to detail what the thing is. We're going to make note of it. We're going to write it down. I'm a firm believer in the importance of documenting and writing things down. So maybe it should be documenting, not detail. That's going to be my D instead. I just decided. Document. Then you have to decide, is it something I can do quickly and immediately and that I need to do? Then you're just going to do it now and get it off your list. That's our second D. Our third D is, does it have to be done, or can we just delete it altogether, which is a really quick way of dealing with it. Our fourth D is one of my favorites these days. Can I delegate it? Can I get somebody else to take care of this? And I would say 99% of the things in the loose ends that need to be tied up, I delegate to someone else, because they wouldn't be loose ends if they weren't something that we had committed to doing and we wanted to do in the first place. And the fifth thing is deadline. I call it deadline it, meaning reevaluate the situation, reevaluate the loose end, create an absolute deadline as well as a responsible individual as to when it has to be done. So redo the deadline, reset the timeline and the expectation, and then make sure you hold yourself or the other person that's the responsible individual accountable for actually getting it done and making sure that the loose end is tied up. So with respect to this particular idiom or expression, I like the meaning of it as well, or the origin of it as well. As not only was it to tie up things, but the captains of ships, when sailors were lollygagging or not doing anything, they would have them go around the ship and look for knots and loose ends to tie off, which is a lot of times what we do with people in our organizations, right? They're not working on a project, or depending, and hopefully we're utilizing them better than that. But sometimes we need to find projects and other things and busy work and tying off loose end activities for people in our organizations to do in order to keep them busy and moving and engaged in the process of building and supersizing our business. So curious, what do you do at the end of the year to tie off loose ends? I've got a whole list of things and checklist of things that I do. It didn't used to be a checklist, but after I did it several years in a row, I thought, this should be a checklist. So I do things, and I'm not going to read my checklist to you, but I do things like I review my goals from the previous year. Every year, I actually set my goals, and I've done this, I don't know, for 30, 40 years, based on the life framework, the different areas and aspects of our life: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution. And last year in April, I joined a coaching program, so I added goals in the area of confidence and communication as well. Now I'm going to upgrade those 2 areas of my life going forward in 2022, which is another part of my tying up loose ends. I only let myself set 4 annual goals in each of those areas. I just get 4. Otherwise, I tend to overdo, and I would have like 50 in each area. So a long time ago, I said, nope, it was 3, and then I stretched it to 4, I don't know, probably a decade ago, and said, okay, you can have 4 things, but you can't have more than 4 in any one area. Now why? Because physical encompasses a whole lot of stuff, right? It might be my eating, my nutrition, you know, what I put in my body. It might be my movement, my exercise. It might be hydration, water, supplements. There's all different things that are entailed in our physical beingness. And so I had to say, okay, you can work on 4 things, 4 main goals for that area. And I do that with each area and aspect of my life. Now, it really gets complicated when we get to business, right? But I get goals for the businesses, and the business gets goals for the business. So that's how I get around my 4 for that one. But every year then, at the end of the year, I do a review of, and I look at lessons learned, mindset, beliefs, all kinds of soft areas for myself and for our business and for the culture in our business as a whole, because I want to look at those and analyze those and make sure we're going in the direction we want to go with our long-term goals, our annual goals. I call those, they're not long-term. We have legacy goals, you know, 5, 10 years, 20 years, but we also have annual goals, and all of our planning for the year is based on the annual goals that we set for myself personally, as well as in the different businesses I'm involved in. So we set the annual goal, and then we break that down into bite-sized pieces, up to and including daily actions, daily to-do lists. What else? Another thing I do at the end of the year, and tying up loose ends. Tying up loose ends, there's a whole ton, there's big checklists for each business of all the things that need to be dealt with for an accounting. I learned a long time ago that our business year, our fiscal year, and our accounting year, they all end on December 31st. We used to have businesses, we'd start when we started and we'd do 12 months, and it just got so convoluted and so confusing that instead of making my accountants and my CPAs insane, as well as my lawyers, we just simplified and said, all right, every business from now on ends on December 31st. It doesn't matter if it starts on December 1st, we're going to close out and do a year end on December 31st of every year. And that really helped to simplify the process. So we review all the things that we've done, all the things we're doing, and then we make sure that our goals for the following year are set up, broken down. Now, I'll do that today. I'll do all the review, tying up loose ends, and then tomorrow I verify and I check in with, and I don't just set goals in one day. That would be hard, but I've been thinking about them all along and writing them down and taking notes, and I'll formally set in stone, and not in stone because everything's flexible, my goals for 2022 tomorrow. But tying up loose ends involves doing all the pieces and the things that I need for this year. I will share my super secret strategy for making sure that I personally always tie up loose ends. And to me, tying up loose ends means doing what I say I'm going to do. When I commit to doing something or tell somebody I'm going to do something, I follow up on it and I make sure I do that. And the way I do that is I started this, I don't know, sometime in my corporate career. I was in one of my jobs was really a lot. And so in order to function and make sure I followed up and did what I said I was going to do, I started carrying around notebooks with me all the time. And you will see me today even, I always have a notebook in my purse or in my pocket or on my person. Because if something comes up that I need to do or follow up on, I will in that notebook make a little square. I'll show you right here. I make a little square and then I write down what the thing is, and every night before I end my day, I go through my notebook, and anything that's got an open square that I didn't cross off or check off goes on tomorrow's list, tomorrow's to-do list or schedule, wherever it needs to go, and goes into my planner to make sure that I follow up on it before I said I'd have it done, right? Or as soon as possible, because our word and our trustworthiness is the most important thing that we can offer to other people. And I found one of the best ways to build relationships is on trust. And trust comes from doing the things that we say we're going to do. And so I make sure, that's just my little secret trick that I've always used to make sure every day I'm not forgetting anything. Because there's nothing worse than telling somebody you'll do something and then totally getting busy like we all do and forgetting to do it. Guess what? This works with our families as well as with respect to our business associates or our job or our career. So curious, what do you do at the end of the year to tie up loose ends? What do you do in general to tie up loose ends? Share that in the comments below. And I will, of course, be with you tomorrow with a January 1st, brand new year, brand new topic to tie to our business-related idiom. Have an awesome day. Thanks for joining me in 2021, and I'll see you in 2022. Happy New Year.